back to the Blitz. We have a fancy table here. Morey's here now again with Ruthie, and we're going to break down all the weekend action, the season that was. All right. Let's run through the Super Bowls. NK, Cranston West, initial thoughts, guys.
That's going to be a good one. I'm really excited to see NK, who really has just, I think, dominated Division I for the most part, other than going up against, you know, those juggernauts with LaSalle and Henday.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see them, but Cam Alves, you can't ever count him out. I mean, Cranston West was down at halftime in the semifinal game, came back and won. So looking forward to that matchup. That's going to be exciting.
You know, I like Cranston Stadium, but to have home field in a state championship game is
you're
kind
comfortable
of
there.
Yeah, you're very comfortable. So I mean, NK's defense, they've allowed 12 points throughout the playoffs. Their offense is great. I think they should have had a shot to play Hershgordon or LaSalle in the state championship
we'll get into those logistics
to get there.
I'll say this about NK: moving up from D2 to D1. And some of this has to do with the format we have now, but unbelievable transition here from 2 to 1. Obviously, last year they beat Moses Brown, but you were saying week 1.
They were our game of the week.
Coach Gil Martin was like, I don't know if we belong. Maybe not belong is the right word, but if we can compete at this level, and they certainly have.
I asked him. I can't remember what exactly the wording was, so I don't want to misquote him. But I asked him like what the confidence level was like, and he's like, I don't really know if there's confidence necessarily. This was obviously before they had played a D1 game, but he said, you know, we got our work cut out for us. It was Portsmouth. They played Portsmouth week 1, who obviously had some injuries and kind of struggled through the season, but that was going to be a tough matchup for both parties, and then NK dominated that game. So I think maybe after that game, if I would have talked to him and said, all right, now what are you thinking? But it's interesting to think about how he was feeling before the season started.
EG won Socket Morey in D2. 2 upsets, really, from a week ago. A lot of people were thinking Westerly and Burrillville, and here we are with EG win Socket.
Yeah, EG throws the ball a lot. Conrad Swanson has 2 of his favorite targets out there, and they throw the ball a lot for a D2 team, really for a high school team. That is, and Woonsocket came off with probably one of the biggest upsets maybe in Rhode Island State history. I mean, Westerly had just rolled teams. They were top 4, top 5 in the state all season long. So I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be, you know, more. I think the Avengers could pull this one out.
Woonsocket won big earlier in their year. Is that? Do we have the score?
Correct.
It was like 44 to something.
Yeah. Now you're putting me on the spot here.
And EG doesn't usually get blown out. I think this is going to be a close one.
Novans beat the Avengers 44-13. I do want to say that I think I forgot what I was going to say.
Conrad Swanson?
Conrad Swanson, we give him a shout out every single week.
Lechardes?
Best name in football for a quarterback.
We like him.
Conrad
to be
Swanson.
fair, I haven't seen Woonsocket in person yet this year.
Yeah.
We've seen them a lot on Saturdays. Have you?
No, I haven't shot Woonsocket. But I do also.
They must have a lot of confidence.
Conrad Swanson, you were talking about how he can throw the ball, but he can literally do anything.
Yes, he can.
So that's kind of unpredictable, his unpredictability. You know, he just is very good on the fly at adjusting. So that's going to be definitely tough for Woonsocket to.
And we'll run through 3 and 4 quickly. Central Falls and Pilgrim, 2 schools we haven't really seen at this stage in a long time. So congrats to both programs.
Yeah.
I'm going with Pilgrim on this one, sort of just a guess, but I think they've had one of those years where it kind of just feels like their year. But Central Falls. You were there today.
Yeah, Central Falls had a big pep rally today. I think it was cool.
Love it.
They're the #1 seed for the first time in a while. But the Patriots are one of the hottest teams in the entire state, especially in Division III. So, you know, do you want to take the kind of underdog, the high riser, or do you want to take Central Falls? I think I'm going to go with the Road Warriors in this one.
All right.
I did see Central Falls play. I did see Central Falls play last week in the semifinal game, and they look really good. I do know that Pilgrim has been playing kind of their best football of the year right now, which obviously is helpful. But this kid, Dutchy Arroyo, I hope I'm saying his name correctly.
It is. Yeah.
He is. It was my first time seeing him play last week, and he's a similar guy where he can throw the ball, he can run the ball, he can do anything. So that's going to be tough to contain him because they really move him around the field and play him wherever they need him.
And North Smithfield's been a juggernaut really all year, taking on Tiverton.
Yeah, heavy favorite.
I like them in this one.
Same. I saw them play, and they look good.
Yeah. All right, speaking of Super Bowls, Hershgordon and LaSalle was a blowout last weekend with the Hawks avenging that loss a year prior. We all knew it would come down to those 2 at the beginning of the year. Were you surprised with how easily they won?
I think so. I mean, I was kind of on board with Hershgordon from the start.
You were. I'll give you credit there.
I was. Big Angel Sanchez fan. I like his speed. And obviously Xavier Truss dominating the line. But I think, I mean, you know, LaSalle had a great upset last year. I wasn't here for that. But just to see Hershgordon kind of year after year, I mean, they churn out a lot of great players.
Yeah.
And Keith Croft kind of has that system churning right now.
I was just going to say, Keith Croft has just really got things going and flowing there, which is really awesome and exciting for him. But I was surprised for the blowout just for the simple reason season of this being a rivalry game, and those kind of games are just so unpredictable. You know, the Hawks were favored last year and LaSalle pulling off the upset. Like, just usually those games seem like they come down to the wire. So for this one to kind of be put away early, it felt kind of like a disappointment, I think, for fans too. And
there's a little extracurricular stuff going on the field there. But yeah, Hendricken certainly avenged that, and I think it'll come down to these two pretty much every year. That brings us back to the current playoff format. Obviously, RIAL changes it every year. We can barely keep up. Send us an email next time you change it so we know beforehand.
Call them out.
But now it's almost like, how do we handle Hendricken and LaSalle, right? They're better than everyone else in the state. The public schools complain. What do we do with them? So now they have the concept this year where you win your respective division, Hendricken and LaSalle are in different ones, and you just advance to this state championship Super Bowl, which they both did. And now you have this playoff format for Division I where it ends up being a Cranston West and a North Kingstown. Do we like this because it allows the public schools to play for a championship, unlike that sham last year where they had the consolation game count as a Super Bowl? Or do you feel like you need NK and Cranston West to go through the Hendricken and LaSalle's to really validate things?
You do, 100%. If Alabama and Clemson make the national championship game in football, and it's Notre Dame and Michigan in the other semifinal, I mean, is that going to be the next kind of championship? That's kind of what we're looking at right now. I think 100% it's got to be. And this is the one year that I think North Kingstown could have given Bishop Hendricken or LaSalle a run. I mean, North Kingstown led Bishop Hendricken by 9 points at one point in that game. I mean, if in a playoff style, if Hendricken kind of tightens up a little bit, they're feeling the pressure to kind of come through, the targets on their back, and they don't come through, North Kingstown has a win that they'll remember for a long time.
I know, it almost makes it a little that much sweeter. I don't know what you do, though.
I don't
it's
either.
Such a tough situation.
It's tough, but I'm also very anti, everyone gets a trophy. And I think North Kingstown and, Cranston West, who are more than deservedly deserve a state championship. And it's tough also playing in Rhode Island, which is such a small state, and you have such a small pool of schools to
there
kind
aren't other like-minded schools with Hendricken and LaSalle at their level unless they left the state and they want to have a full schedule.
I don't have a solution.
The thing for Hendricken, which stinks, is they have no playoff games. They don't play on Thanksgiving. They play like 7 weeks. Their season is pretty much over. And that brings us finally to the Thanksgiving setup. This year now, the Thanksgiving games on Wednesday and Thursday of this coming week are after the season. All the Super Bowls will be done. Way back when, they impacted the playoff seeding. Last year, they were played kind of during the playoffs. Do we like it just being an exhibition after the year, or would you prefer to push the season back and make these count more?
Yeah, just looking at the very opposite end of the spectrum, where I last worked in Texas, which is the other side of high school football, at its largest and biggest and greatest. Not that they were necessarily playing on Thanksgiving, but their final, towards the end of the season, was their big rivalry game that had a lot of implication usually, and that was so much fun, and it just meant a lot more. Whereas last year, when they were playing that game that didn't really matter, but it was still during the season on Thanksgiving, and they weren't playing the guys because they were worried they were going to get hurt for playoffs. That didn't work either. So I really like the idea of pushing it back, having Thanksgiving be a football Thanksgiving, having it matter. It's a rivalry game.
So maybe the last regular
guys.
Season game, and then you do 2 weeks, but can they afford to have the season stretch into December? Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
I think that was the issue this year, is they wanted the other fall, or they wanted this winter sports to kind of start, and that's why they pushed football up. I don't know, what are your thoughts?
I'm 100% on the fact that everything should be done before Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving should be the last hurrah. Everybody should play. I was hearing last year that they played a bunch of freshmen and sophomores to kind of get the ball rolling for the following year. It's almost like a preseason game for the following season.
In the middle of the season, it kind of messes up your juju.
The days of Cranston East and West for a playoff spot are over. LaSalle, Tingon, East Providence, with a lot at stake, are over, at least for now. All right, well, we got to a lot right there.
Yeah,
good
love
stuff.
It.
We'll have much more coming up from the Friday Night Blitz after this.
Also known as College Game Day.